Life between lives is my happy place. Hey, everybody, it's Vondie Lozano here, and today we're talking about everything you ever wanted to know about life between lives. And I'm really excited to be answering some of the questions that were sent in today. So let me pull those up. So today and this month, we're talking about choosing your happy place, that basically on the other side, they want us to enjoy this life. A lot of planning went into this life. Yes, there are lessons, but there's a lot of beauty and love and joy here, and they don't want us to miss out on any of that. So, is our life between lives a happy place? That's a definite yes. So, we're reunited with our soul family, that group of souls that we incarnate with over and over through many different lives. I had one person describe it as, well, everybody refers to it as home, but one person said it's more like home than anything I've ever experienced on Earth. On Earth. So it's a beautiful place where we reconnect with the people and the souls that we travel through all our lives with. We reconnect with our sense of oneness. I read something that said enlightenment is when the drop of water realizes it's part of the ocean. And it's sort of that with us on the other side. We are connected all as one. And then we sort of separate into these little thimbles of lives, these little thimbles of ocean water to come in and learn these lessons. And then we take it back to where we're all one again. So yes, we are happy on the other side. We reconnect with our basic oneness. There's joy, there's singing. There's not so much words, but there's singing and music. Communication isn't through words as we know it. There's games, there's fun, there's play. So, yes, our life between lives is definitely a happy place. And one person asked, do we really know what happens on the other side? And the answer is yes. And granted, this is what we're learning from the sessions we have. So we don't know everything, but we do know some things. And Michael Newton, when he did his work, wrote about it in Journey of Souls, and he did 7,000 cases where people all had somewhat similar, in fact, back then, very similar experiences. Now things are more varied. And there's 200 of us who've been trained by the Newton Institute. Today we call it the Michael Newton Institute out of tribute to him. And together we've done 75,000 cases. So these are some of the places people visit in the afterlife. And in future shows, we'll talk more about them. But a place of healing where we recover if it's been an especially difficult life. Our soul group, which I was just talking about, where we reunite with those souls that we travel through many lives with. Our council, which is those wise elders that oversee our lives, and we go before them to talk about our life goals and our life plan. And we'll answer a little bit of questions about that in a minute today, too. And the place of life body selection, to me, that was the most fascinating when I first learned about this, where we actually chose the life and the body that we're inhabiting today and find out what we were looking for and why we're here and why we chose this specific incarnation. And people go to other planets, they create life in labs, they go to libraries. A lot of the people who come to me go to libraries where they check out books on themselves and read about past lives or books about things they're interested in, love, or one person was reading a book on the brain and learning all about the brain. So yes, we do know what happens. And then there's other places that we're just learning as the souls are going to new and different places all the time. And I mentioned classrooms. That's in a lot of Michael Newton's books. I haven't had as many people go to classrooms, but every now and then where they're in school and learning. Because remember, that's real life. This is where we come to practice what we're working on over there. What about our soul group? Someone asked, will we learn the roles of the key people in our present life? And when we have our session, do we need to name those people that we want to find out about? So we will, when you go to your soul group, you get to learn who's in your soul group and what are their roles that they play in your life and what are their roles even in the group. And you don't have to actually list everybody that's going to show up in your group. A lot of times people are actually surprised who shows up in their soul group. Someone's friend who they're no longer close with will show up, or someone that they're a little have a little bit of a contentious relationship with, or even an ex-husband. Usually it's people we're close to, but sometimes it's someone that we have a difficult relationship with. And we decided before we came in together these contracts of you're going to be the bad guy and I'm going to be the good guy because I need to work on strength and you need to work on compassion or things like that. Excuse me. So, yes, you'll learn who is in your soul group, but you don't necessarily have to know them all in advance. You'll find out in your session. And someone asked, is it the same counsel each time? So, one of the questions that we ask is, does your counsel change from life to life? And so, depending on the person, they may say, no, these people, these beings have been with me a long time, or they may say, yes, someone's on my counsel for a specific reason. So, they have a special area that they are experts in, and they're helping me with that. And that's why they're on my counsel. And just as a side note, it's usually men and women. And oftentimes the male is the head because in our society, that's what we think of as sort of more authoritative, I guess. So, what about our life purpose? Will we learn our purpose for this life? I would say that's the biggest reason people have these life between life sessions is they want to know, who am I? What am I here for? Why did I choose this life? And when you go to your counsel, that's where we focus on that the most. What are you here to work on? How does this fit within your soul plan through all your lives? And then also, the question was asked, will we receive specific instructions on how to fulfill the contract, whatever our goals were for this life? And the answer is yes. They get very specific. And it's a lot of self care messages, a lot of be your authentic self, go for it. Um, Someone who's given me permission to share her story is my friend Leah, and she asked her counsel, am I on track with my career? And they said yes. And their biggest thing was go bigger, don't play small. In fact, one of the women on the council, the female beings, got right up close to her face and basically kind of said, stop holding yourself back, go bigger. You need to really go for it. And Leah will be on in a future show, and she's an actor, and she just booked a starring role and is getting ready to film a pilot for a new show. So it would be really fun to have her on and telling us all about that. This was a really interesting question. Are we the same people in the afterlife? So it's a yes and no. So what people are wondering is, will my loved one be the same as how I think of them today? So yes, in that we retain certain basic soul characteristics, but we also choose a specific body, life, and along with that, personality for each incarnation for specific reasons. So the soul essence remains the same, but the person may choose a very different life, body, personality to learn specific lessons. So you might have been a pirate many lifetimes ago, and you might be a social worker today. So, obviously, those are really different personalities, but your basic soul essence is carried from life to life. And that was one of the things that surprised me and that I loved the most is we don't all just turn into generic angels or, fairies on the other side. We retain our basic sense of personality, I guess, as a soul, and that we're not all just no, we don't just, even though we're all one, we have unique characteristics. Some souls are more advanced, some souls are more sensitive, some are more playful, some are more mischievous. You've probably heard me talk about the one soul group that was like a rogue soul group, and they were smoking, drinking, hell raising souls. So I like knowing that we have unique characteristics on the other side. Someone asked, do we keep reincarnating to fix our mistakes? And I think that's a way of looking at things that doesn't, where I guess we'll say we just know more than we used to, which is we used to think you went from sort of past life to past life and just kind of leapfrogging from life to life, and that you had to fix karma or deal with the sort of sins of the previous lives. But now we know in between each life, you go to the life between lives, where you go to a place of healing and some of those other places I mentioned. And so we don't reincarnate to fix mistakes. We reincarnate to learn specific lessons. So You may be working on compassion, and that's why you chose a really difficult life that has a lot of suffering, that you're an advanced soul. But it doesn't mean you're being punished for something you did in a previous life. So it's not karma in the way people have traditionally understood it. And then when we've mastered these lessons, then we no longer need to incarnate. And then someone asked the question, what about aliens in the afterlife? Which I know sounds way out there, but I have had people from other planets, which I think we would refer to as aliens, in sessions, and usually they're very advanced souls. And oftentimes they have come here. Well, first of all, they're usually uncomfortable in this life, uncomfortable in this world, on this Earth planet. And that's because they're from other planets. And also, they are usually here to bring healing and raise our vibrational level. They're not usually here for their own benefit. So the questions that we ask are usually, why did the person choose this life and what are they here to learn? And with the more advanced souls and the what we now call traveler souls from other planets, usually they are incarnating among us to help us here on earth, not for their own personal development. And then I just wanted to answer a few frequently asked questions that I get asked when people book sessions. So one is, can anyone be hypnotized? And I suppose there's, quote, research out there that says a small percentage cannot be hypnotized, a small percentage go really well, and the majority of people do just fine. But I would say I regularly have people come to me who say they can't be hypnotized or they have no hypnosis experience, and I have hardly ever had any trouble. I recently had one person who got a little bit stuck, but my sense is they weren't quite ready, and that when you're ready, it flows. And we can always do a pre-hypnosis session if people want, but I truthfully I don't do that usually. And if you're ready, if you do any sort of meditation or guided imagery, it's just the same. In fact, that's another question. What does it feel like to be hypnotized? It's just that very relaxed place, only you go a little deeper. We are trained to take you even a little deeper into that relaxation, deep enough that you're open and able to access your immortal soul memories of your life between lives and your previous lives. Will I remember what happens? Yes. It's not like the stage hypnosis at the fair where you're going to do something goofy and all of a sudden wake up and not know what you did or remember a little. So you don't do anything that you don't want to do. And it's just like this, like you and I are talking back and forth. It's just you're very relaxed. So I always say, I'm in California. If there was an earthquake, we could both get up and go out the door. So you're still present, but you're here as well as there. Will it be recorded? So I do an audio recording, but I also suggest that you do as well. And that way, people just record on their phones. That way, we both have a recording in case there's some sort of technical glitch. And this is the biggest one. How does it work remotely? I love it when you can come in person, but a lot of people are far away, and I would have never guessed we could have done it over Zoom. In fact, previous to COVID, we were not allowed to do these sessions over Zoom. The Life Between Lives Michael Newton Institute wanted us only to do it in person to deliver a quality product, a quality session. So you got the most out of it. But with COVID, obviously everything changed. And they even provided support to us so we could learn how to do it in a way that you would still get the same type of session, the same type of experience. So we even offer a little pre-session where we practice and make sure all the technology is working, that I can see you and hear you, and you can see and hear me. And I've had one session where we lost our internet. Well, actually, another one where I lost the internet, they didn't. And both times we recover. It's so funny because after we reconnect the internet, I do all this counting to help someone get back into the place. And they tell me as soon as I laid down, I was back in the castle, on the prairie, wherever it was that they were. And remember, spirit doesn't care if we're in the same room or in different countries. It doesn't matter to them. There's no distance, there's no time. So the sessions work beautifully remotely, just like in person. So let me see if we have any other questions. I'm not seeing any. So just a couple things that I wanted to mention that were related to questions people asked, which is when you have the Life Between Lives session, you can bring questions and a list of people. And your list of people is the 5 or 10 people that are important to you. And these are so I know who people are when they show up in your soul group. So when you say, "Oh, John's here," I know, "Oh, John is my husband," or "John is your son," or "Oh, Susie's here." And I know, "Oh, that's your long lost childhood friend who passed away when you were young." So it's just so I don't have to stop and go, "Okay, who is that?" Because I want you to be in the experience, not having to catch me up. So you can bring a list of 5 or 10 people, living and or people who have crossed over. And then the really interesting part, I think, is you can bring a list of 5 or 10 questions. And people usually ask, these are the questions people ask: who do I put on my people list? And what kind of questions do I bring? So most often people ask the questions about the big questions. What is my purpose? Why am I here? And encouragement or feedback or help with their direction or where they are, and even maybe what they're struggling with. And so thank you for chiming in, Leah, and for being here with us today.